Good morning, traders. Welcome to Tuesday. Just quickly on the economic releases due this week, we've got FOMC minutes tomorrow. No decisions are made during that time, during that release. However, it will give us an indication as to what the Fed is looking at uh, that will ultimately determine what they'll do with the interest rates later on. So, other than that, there's not much going on. So, let's dive into the technicals. We're looking at the Bitcoin 4-hour chart. As you can see, we had a nice run off these lows from about 109 all the way up to all-time highs that we had last night with a little quick wick above the previous highs. However, as we're drifting up, we kind of formed this channel that we broke through last night. As soon as we broke through, I did take a short position. Now, I usually do not do counter trend positions. However, in this instance, I'm kind of looking for a little bit of a pullback into the previous resistance trend support before we head higher for two reasons. So let me just go out a little bit here and I will show you why. One, we've got this very nicely defined uh, resistance turn support. However, if we overlay the Fibonacci retracements, it also happens to coincide exactly with the 50% retracement. Over there, we are on the 50% happening at 117,487 or thereabouts. So I would say 117,500 would be the 50% retracement from this leg up. That forms a very strong support as well. So I'm expecting this to fall down to there before we end up going higher. Now, let's overlay a Fibonacci extension just to determine, well, how high could we potentially go? So we take it from there, and then we take, if it does bounce off these levels, then we put it over there. Now the top of that ascending resistance falls almost exactly into the 1.618 Fibonacci extension. So at these levels, run about 145K. If we get up to there, I will be closing my long positions and start to consider short positions. Now, let's just kind of zoom out a little bit to find out where these lines came from. As you can see over here, we bounced off this ascending support over there, and it just keeps on going. I mean, you can see it's it's shown a decent trend going up. We got that parallel going to that one up there, so that we formed that rising support. So that coincides very nicely with the top of that range. However, if we look at the rising support that's coming off this side, we can see that it's forming an ascending wedge, which is a very strong reversal pattern. So if we happen to drift up and break through, say about there, let's say we get the top at about 146, pull back a little bit, go a little bit sideways. As soon as we drop through that level, we've broken through the bottom support of a rising wedge, which could trigger a very strong pullback to the downside. So something to be aware of, but we're not looking at that just yet. For now, all we're concerned with is, are we going to pull back into this support? So let me zoom out a little bit. As you know, this is the window in which we expect to end the Bitcoin rally. Maybe, maybe not. Nothing's for certain. If it goes further, if we break more all-time highs after this window, well, then we've broken the pattern that's happened in the last two cycles, maybe three cycles. So something to be aware of. And then we can expect a nice pullback into this timing band right now. So if we look at the 30, let's just have a look here. You can see we made our way up there. Last night we broke through. I took a short position as we broke through. That's where I went short, down, retest, and then down again. I expect that to keep on going all the way down. Now, if I have a look at the, sorry, if we look at the risk reward, my risk is limited. My stop loss is at all-time highs or thereabout. We entered about there. I'm expecting this to go down to about 115. Again, that's a risk reward of about 4, which is very good. Even if you get in right here, you're still looking at about 2.8, right? So this is still a very nice risk reward, but again, it is a counter trend position, which I do not really advocate you taking unless you're very, very strong on your risk management and you're willing to get out and cut a loss very quickly if it breaks to the upside. So a bit more on the risky side, but if you are looking to get into a trade, looking for a little bit of an adrenaline rush, that could be for you. So let's just look back. Let's go into the others. We're on the 30-minute chart now. So let's go into drift. If we break down or go down to 117 spot 5, this will put a lot of pressure on the altcoins, right? So in this in this case, I'd expect us to break through these levels, go down to about 0.75, maybe even a little bit lower, but it should give us a nice entry about these levels for us to then go higher from there. Radium, the same. We expect the altcoins to follow, break down, maybe get to this bottom support. Same as near. Near, we're looking at about 2.7, 2.6, thereabout. That would be a nice entry. RSR, I would say this would break through here and we could probably hit these lows before we go higher. That would be at 0.0055 GRT. And, it just goes on and on. I mean, we can look at Solana, we can look at anywhere. I mean, Solana would probably come down to about 206, may even break through, look at about 200 or thereabout, and that will be a nice entry point for us to then go to the upside. Now, it's worth mentioning that with all these crypto cycles and bull runs, what usually happens is you'll get a nice big move with Bitcoin. That will start topping out. When it tops out, money then flows from Bitcoin into the altcoins. And therefore, that's when Drift, Radium, Near, whatever you want, XRP, Trello, all of these alts will start kicking off and they tend to go up very, very, very quickly. That's where you can get your 5, 10, 20x's on some of your lower cap coins. So it's worth just being aware of that, being locked and loaded at these nice low levels. Again, keeping your stop loss relatively close by, having your your support levels well defined. Be careful not to get wicked out, but yeah, it should work out very well if you're in a good position. So let's just go over onto our risk management in terms of our short position. You can see there, open Bitcoin. It's a short position, 0.006. 0.006 of a Bitcoin. It equates roughly to about 14 US dollars on our current leverage. So what I've done is, as you can see, we're on this tier 28.5. And last time I expanded this into 4 altcoin positions. Before it was just 2 of $14 each. So with this Bitcoin, because I took a position very close with a very uh, a very quick trigger on how to get out of that position if it didn't quite work out. But we're now on a risk-free trade in that respect. I have brought my stop loss all the way down so that if we do break to the upside, that any damage is minimized. But on the on this amount right there, that equals 0.006 of a position. So we're just waiting for that to work itself out. I'm ready to cut that if I need to. And we're looking for a good entry to the long side. So if you're not looking to play the short side, stay away. Just keep an eye on what's happening on the charts. As soon as Bitcoin starts making its way up, after hitting finding support over here. I don't think it'll go as low as 111, but if it did, then it's worth just taking a note that this is where you want to try get long and make the most of the upside. But bear in mind that this could be the last leg up in the Bitcoin bull run this year. Um, I'm not saying it's definitely going to be, but there is that possibility. Anyway, good luck, traders, and I'll give an update a little bit later in the week. All the best. Bye.